eyes just don't know. I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Marc Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
Delicious beverage?
Duh.
Welcome to the show. We're excited today. We got a fashion maven on the show. This brother is a prime example of how you feel good when you look good. This brother is stylish. He's hot right now. You see many of his fashions. You see a lot of brothers. It's interesting. I feel like brothers are dressing up again. The spirit of dressing up again is back. And he's one of the leaders in the whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Michael Johnson joins us. JL Michaels in the building. What's up, my brother?
Hey, Mark, how are you doing, man? Good to be on with you this morning. How are you doing today?
Man, I tried to dress it up, but man, you killing me, man.
You hit me with them colors, good. Man. Stop it. You're looking good. Stop it.
Man, you're killing me. You hit me with them colors, man. And that's the thing, Michael. It feels like dressing up is hot again. It feels like men's fashion is hot again. So. Michael, you don't know my story, but I'm a media guy. I'm a radio guy in the DMV. My wife is a news anchor. She's been a news anchor on television in the area in Washington, D.C. for over 20 years. I'm a radio guy, but the last year and a half, I had an interesting journey. 30-year-plus radio guy. I actually lost some weight. I did weight loss surgery, lost over 100 pounds, and then got the opportunity to hop on television every day and on a morning show. And so from August to December, I filled in for a young lady who was on maternity leave. So I got a chance to be on television every day. And Michael, it really was funny because, radio is not visual. So I was just a chubby guy on the radio, didn't have to worry about, dressing up. But on TV, I had to dress up every day. And I found myself, it was a space I really enjoyed. At 55, to have that and that opportunity was just amazing. And so now, I'm like, it made me look at fashion a whole different way. And also just understand the plight of dressing up every day. Let me add to the show. Bootsy Vegas is my co-host, Michael. He's here. It's Bootsy Vegas. Obviously, Michael, he did not dress up for the show because of his good looks.
I need your help, Mike. I need your help, Mike. Save me, Mike. Save me.
I got you, Bootsy. I got you. No problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so, Michael, from what I noticed was, my eyeglasses, I started to get attention wearing my glasses. Here was the thing, Michael, you know how it works. So my wife is this fine news anchor. Everybody loves her. She's super popular. Everybody knows her name. Now, her chubby husband was coming to television. So Michael, I had the pressure. I had to have the look right. I had to have the look right because you know how we do, Michael. Oh, they was waiting for me, especially the Hater brothers was waiting for me. So
always.
I think, Michael, I knew the assignment and I think I delivered because I hit them with, not like you, not high fashion. I just tried to get my colors right. my eyewear, you know, I hit him with some nice eyewear, you know, and so it kind of became like a signature, Michael, and it kind of made me realize that how important how you look is, right? TV, that's the one thing about TV. It made me understand the importance. And Michael, you know what the thing I thought about was I had a #1 radio show in Baltimore, you know, well-respected, Marc Clarke and the Big Fat Morning Show. But Michael, I had to ask myself the question, Michael. With the, you know, it ended, you know, I got replaced by syndication and blah, blah, blah. But when I was doing TV, Michael, I had to ask myself the hard question.
Which was?
If my style was different, if I carried myself differently as far, I mean, I wasn't a fat, sloppy guy. I was always stylish. It looked nice. But I'm just saying, Michael, that extra step, if I had lost that weight, if I had, you know, been more aware of my looks, because looks play a part, would it have changed? I don't know. But TV made me think about it. So I say all that to say, Michael, break it down to us. Talk to us about the importance of how we look.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you again for the invite. And I know exactly who you are. I know who your wife is. I'm a native of the DMV. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C. Yes, sir. Born and raised in Washington, D.C. Yeah. So I'm a D.C. dude, man. I know you. So don't worry about it. I know the backdrop. I know the story. You're good, bro. You're like a brother. So I got you.
Thank you.
What about me, Mike? Am I like a brother, Mike? Or I'm just waiting to get adopted?
You're like a cousin. You're like a cousin.
Okay, I just want to feel welcome here in this discussion. Okay, no problem.
You're my brother.
You're a brother as well. But here's the deal, though, honestly, Mark. So I want you to remember something always. Image is everything. It really is. I don't care if you're on the radio. I don't care if you're on a podcast. I don't care if you're on television. I don't care if you're walking down the street. Image is everything. So you want to be constantly aware of what you look like and how you present wherever you are and whatever space you might be in, right? Because you don't know, Mark, who wants to present you with an opportunity. Or as you may have said, and this does happen from time to time, an opportunity might be taken away from you because you don't necessarily fit into a mold or a scheme of what a television broadcast, you know, wants to portray, or a radio station, you know, once they put your picture up or something like that. So we always have to be conscious of that. So I am one who is very, very conscious of that. I'm an image consultant. I'm a stylist. I'm a haberdasher, or someone who sells custom clothing. And I've always told my clients that, and I've known that from day one. My dad has always told me, look, man, always present your best. You don't know who wants to present you with an opportunity. And sometimes the opportunity comes because of how you look and nothing else, right? So the opportunity will get you to the door and through the door, but it's, you know, everything else, your character, your work ethic, and all the rest of those things that'll keep you wherever it is you're going. And just one more quick thing for you. When you need me, Mark, I'm here, bro. You don't have to worry about all the rest of that kind of stuff. I got you. Just hit me up and we'll make it happen for you.
What about me? What about me though, Mike? Y'all keep leaving me out of this, man. Come on.
And the cousins get taken care of too. I got you, cuz.
Hey, I'm born and raised in DC. I'm sorry, Mike.
So Michael, couple things. I had this. So I'm from Springfield, Illinois, right?
Okay.
Small town America. And again, Mike, this TV journey, it's intriguing because I am radio through and through. That's my blood. I bleed radio. Bootsy's probably the same way.
Yep.
But the TV piece
and go-go music.
And go-go music. The TV
absolutely.
Piece, the TV piece. Now there is a fake, inauthentic side of television. But I'm a real person, so it's okay because I can manage it.
Right.
But so like you say, appearance is a big thing. So Michael, I often hearken back, and Allison cracks on me because I am the guy who I noticed I noticed friends. I noticed everybody when I was a kid. Even if you didn't go to my school, I was the guy that took notice of who you are and how you moved. If it was the athletic achievements, it was the school achievements. For some reason, Bootsy and I talked about this. That's just been who I am. I've always paid attention to move. So in small town America, one of the brothers who was always avant-garde or ahead of the curve or whatever fashion-wise is a brother named Fitzgerald. It was Fitzgerald who we first saw.
He sounds sophisticated too, but go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? He was the first. He didn't even go to my high school, but he was a brother who rocked the Muslim bow tie look, the suit look, the Morris Day zoot suit time look.
Where's Jerome?
You know, the not the not the curl, but the texture with the, you know, your hair looks straight. With the, remember, y'all might remember when the part in the middle style, when you part in the middle and da-da-da. And I was just thinking, Michael, we all know those people. It might have been your uncle who was always clean. I think of one of my aunt's boyfriends. He always had the bro ham. We call it, I think it's called a brome, but we call it the bro ham in the car community. Y'all know you know the one, the burgundy one with the burgundy seats.
Oh yeah.
He was always clean, and when you got in the car, he smoked, so you smelled the smoke, and you also smelled that cologne, right? Wait a minute, Mike, and you also smell that liquor too, because he always had some type of liquor with him, right? You know, these people who are in our lives who are always stylish, right? And Michael, I was like, did they make the decision in their head? Who are those people, Michael? Were you that guy? Were you the guy that was always da-da-da? Did they make is it a decision that they made at a young age? Who are these people? And then there's the sisters that are the same way.
Yeah, so I think from an early age, what happens is you're informed by your environment, right? So my dad is a very stylish guy. He's 70 years old, very stylish even today. But I remember as a child watching him, Mark. I mean, my dad could dress, man. I mean, he was the guy who other guys looked up to. He was the guy who women absolutely just loved, right? He was the guy, when he walked into the room, he lit it up from the time he just entered the door with his clothing, with everything he did from head to toe. And as a child, I just always remembered, you know what, that's how I want to look when I grow up. And so it became a part of who I was, not even trying to do it, but it just was a part of who I was because of who he was. So he had made this, it was an indelible impression upon me, probably at like, I mean, I can remember wearing a suit, Mark, at 3 years old. I have pictures right now, my mother taking pictures of me when she said, hey, you always wanted to wear suits. And I have for as long as I can remember. And then just along the journey, I have learned how to just kind of piece and put things together and just kind of make it work to my own advantage and create my own style, which is, I hope I've done it. I think I've been pretty good at doing it. So yeah, that's how the whole thing came about.
Well, let's look now. Michael Johnson is the CEO of JL Michaels.
Yes.
And if you want to get Bootsy, let me just tell you, brother, this brother be haberdasherinin, okay? First, Mike gonna hit you with the bow. You ain't ready.
Yeah. Oh man, Mark. Okay.
Oh no, you didn't, Mike. Let's talk about these red slip-on loafers, brother. Damn.
Woo.
Yeah. That's how
my eyes. It hurt my eyes looking at it, Mike. Mike, it hurt my eyes looking at it.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you something, right? I'm gonna give you a free tip. This is a nugget for everybody. This is not gonna cost you anything today. So get your pen out, write this down.
I got my booklet out, Mike.
I see. So listen, one of the things that I tell people, man, especially for men, is that you have to use all your accessories to your advantage. And to me, a pair of shoes are nothing more than a pair of accessory, just like your glasses. And I wanted to tell you, those are a nice pair of glasses, by the way. And your glasses are a huge part of who you are. And you've been able to, like you said, take it and incorporate it into your persona. And now you're pretty much infamous for, you know, your eyewear. Same thing with shoes, man. And every other thing, every other thing that you have. So let me tell you a little secret. This is the nugget right here. I'm going to give this way. I normally don't do it, but I'm going to do it for you this morning because I'm on your show. So I use color to help accentuate the one thing I want people to notice about me the most, right? So I'm on your show today. It was no way, Mark, you wouldn't have noticed me with a canary yellow vest on. You could not have done it, right? And if I pair it correctly, it'll make you might want to say, you know what? I think I could try that. I've never thought about trying that before, but maybe I'll try it. Same thing with shoes. I use shoes as a way to draw your eye to me and away from someone else. So if I had on those red shoes and I walked into a room, Mark, you would probably notice me before you noticed anyone else. In fact, I can almost guarantee you, because of scientific studies, because I've also studied this as well, color has a way of grabbing your attention, especially the lighter, the brighter colors and textures. They have a way of doing that. So when you want to actually create a mood or steal someone's attention, that's how you want to do it. So when I walk into a room, I just select a color that I think is bold enough to capture your attention and everyone else's. And probably within the first 2 minutes, you could just see heads kind of turning. You can see people kind of looking. you can see people kind of like looking over your shoulder, or kind of, you know, they're talking to someone else, but they're trying to, you know how they do it. They'll look away, but they're really trying to look at the thing that you have on. So I use those as tools to help me get attention to where I want to get to. So if I wanted your attention, Mark, in particular, I know that if I had those shoes on, eventually you and I would have a conversation at some point throughout the evening.
Wow.
Probably a little quicker than you would expect, because I know what I'm doing to try to work the room to get to where I need to get to.
You ain't lying, because I would be like, brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I used to, you know, I'm a wannabe, sometimes kind of halfway comedian. And one of the bits I used to work on was men over 40, right? Yep. And I talk about how, number one, you got to give props to gay men, because gay men know how to use color. In fact, I used to say, if you need some help with your colors, you need to talk to the gay, because you're going to see a fuchsia, you're going to see a purple, you're going to see a baby blue. Whereas brothers, my joke is, you know, brothers who've been fine their whole life, when you start to get over 45, the old tricks don't work. Now, there are a couple models. If you were the light-skinned Albie Sure L DeBarge, don't get in the gym model, now you're balding, now you got a paunch, and now your looks ain't enough. You're gonna need a little help. And so, Michael, you already are aware of the power of fashion and brothers, right? And absolutely. So, and I'm not just saying it, y'all. This is how I know. Wow, this is how I know. That's a J.L. Michaels custom outfit. Notice everything. You got I love the shirt. I love the vest, the custom vest.
I've never seen a vest like that before either.
It's black and white, so you can feel in the color, but you can even see the color. And let's not forget the coifness of young Michael Johnson, the hair, the beard, the eyewear. He ain't playing, y'all. Don't try this at home.
The what this you said again about it? You said the coifness?
The coifness. He's coiffed.
Coiffed. I love these words.
Listen, man. Hey, thank you, Mark. And again, man, so because I'm very aware that when I'm out in public or wherever I'm at, I'm usually trying to get the attention of somebody. I'm always in search of an opportunity. I don't know why anyone would not be in search of an opportunity, right? And I know just again from studies that the way you look, Mark, man, opportunities will come to you whether you are skilled or not. They're going to come to you because people are attracted, why? To you physically first. That's why, you know, on television, your wife comes across so well. First of all, she's a beautiful woman, one. But two, when you couple the fact that she's a very smart, intelligent, knowledgeable expert in her field, all those things just add up. Those are all pluses after that. But guess what? If you can't even get in the door, then, you know, what's it all for? And so I always use my clothing as a way to help me get where I want to get to, because I know people pay attention to you. They pay attention to what you wear. And also, I know this to be true. People never forget what you had on. It's crazy. I've been in places like, I can't remember your name, but I can tell you this. You had on this that day. You had on this. You had on this. You had on this. I'm like, man, how do you remember that? It's like, because I remember you had on that red pair of shoes and so forth and so on. That's how I remember you, but I can't remember your name, but I remember the shoes. So all of those things matter, man. I mean, I take great pride in what I do. As you well know, I'm a member of the Silver Fox Squad. That's all of these things count as well. And I want to go back to one point you said. Man, color is so huge. And I encourage men, straight, gay, whatever the case might be, don't be afraid of color. Add a little bit of color, a little bit of pop here and there. And Mark, I promise you, you'd be surprised at how much it'll do for your outfit or your ensemble for the day or whatever it is you're doing. I would love to talk to you, off air so we can talk about some other things to show you just how we can put some small pieces in your closet that'll transform everything you do. And
well, I'm available for that too. Y'all,
and Boosie,
I'm still here.
And listen, Boosie, I didn't forget about you. I did not forget. Man. And cousin, I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Yeah, but I'm simply saying that when you add these different pieces to your closet, there are key pieces you can add that will change everything, Mark. You will be surprised yourself because it'll take your wardrobe to a whole nother level, but it'll also take how people see you to a whole nother level. Because honestly, I've had this request and I got to figure out how to do it. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but I have a lot of guys who are XL who are hitting me up saying, look, bro, get us in some of your clothes because we can rock that too. And I just haven't had the opportunity to kind of sit down and figure out how to do it because it is, there's some nuances to it and there's some ways we got to work around to create it. But I actually want to do it. So, but I tell you one thing, if you hit that mark, you would actually probably corner the whole entire market, man.
Wow.
Let me tell you something, Michael.
I'm
it's
sold
going
on him.
down. I'm going to just say this because, like you said, the TV experience, I learned a couple things. Number one, a lot of people feel like the fashion thing has to be expensive. What I learned about myself, Michael, my mother was a seamstress, you know, so, and I look back on it, Michael, boy, what a missed opportunity. I was cutting out fabrics and stuff, man, the big and tall market. And because what I noticed about myself is I'm pretty good with colors. I'm pretty good. And I think that was the thing with the TV experience. Everybody was like, oh, I know Allison dressed you. And I was, hey, this is K&G, baby. This was no expensive. The irony was, Michael, when the big men's shop is super expensive. It's very expensive, as you know. And the irony was, I thought that's where I was going to get most of my stuff. But I found because I was on every day, I ended up going to K&G, picking out things that work and kind of rolling with them because, you know, every day spending is different than when you're just going out on occasion, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, the colors saved me. And also kind of knowing this basic stuff because of my mom. What is that? Quality of fabric. Not necessarily how something can look cheap versus how something looks a little bit, how 100%, a wool blazer, 100% wool blazer with a little bit of whatever in it versus a fake one, it can look different. Some stuff can play well on TV that can't play well in real life. But anyway, little things that people can learn from a Michael Johnson that can really help their thing. And so I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but I say all that to say, based on that TV thing, and I think because it was a visual combined with, I'm a media guy. I've been on radio for 30 years. That combination put me in the presence of somebody who, does this for real, an agent who does it for real. And I can't say anything else, but all I'll say, Michael, is exactly what you said. When you team those things together, you never know who's watching you, and you never know what opportunities can present themselves. And it's really just been a whirlwind because I'm like, why did Michael, I thought about it though. What would have happened if I had dressed better years ago?
Hey, Mark, I promise
because
you,
there's bias. Wow. People are biased about when you're heavy, they just are, right?
Yeah, but that's true. But I can tell you they're biased in people who dress well and people who just.
That is true. That is true. They can't see your potential sometimes.
They can't see it. And what's is funny is that, sometimes I don't know if it's just they just don't dress well. Some people don't care about or understand the impact of your presence and how you look. I don't. So I can be honest. And so, but let me just say this to you, Boosie, you should. Because, as a black man, especially, we want to make moves and sometimes in trying to make those moves, a lot of times we're based, first of all, how we look. We don't have the benefit of saying that guy is probably an intelligent guy. He's probably smart no matter how he looks. We don't have that benefit. So what we have to do is to always remember what our grandparents and great-great-parents told us, right? Which was you got to be triply, doubly better than everybody else. So you got to go out of your way to make sure that, first of all, people notice you're in the room. And then once you're in the room, then all those other things you can bring to the forefront. But if they can't get past this right here, it's not going to work, right? You're going to be stuck trying to get in the door with everyone else. And so what I try to do, when I help my clients, Mark and Boosie, is to help them be able to get into the door. Like I have this saying to myself. I was just telling a client yesterday, number 2 is a good number. I have no issues, no problem with that. I just don't happen to care to be number 2 when we're talking about doing this stuff, right? I spend a lot of time, a lot of energy in putting myself together to make sure that when I go into places that I hopefully, and I try really hard to secure the bag. And I do that through my presence and how I dress. Now, you're right, too. You don't have to spend a lot of money on clothes, but there are some instances when you need to, right? As a larger guy, and if you're, let me just not say a larger guy, but if you're a guy where your dimensions are kind of all over the place, you may want to really consider custom, because custom will allow you to get the exact fit of your body, right? When you went to K&G, I can promise you this. I'm looking at you and I can tell you have a small neck, right? And having a small neck, but you have a bigger body, you have to get a size 60 neck. So everything else works, right? But if you had custom, we could tailor it to your neck, tailor it to your arms, tailor it to your shoulders, tailor it to your stomach, to every single part of you to get it where you want, right? So that makes a difference in talking about custom. And then there are levels of custom as well, depending on how much money you want to spend on a suit, if you want blends versus, non-blends and some other things like that. But all I'm saying to you and to everyone listening to us today, take the time to invest in yourself. Yeah. That first investment is what you look like, right? Take the time to do that so that you present your absolute best. That's what I always encourage my clients to do. I mean, I encourage you guys to do it as well. And I promise you, just like I promised them, opportunities are going to come your way simply because of how you look. Mark, this is how I got into the Silver Fox Squad. All of us are in the Silver Fox Squad basically because of how we look, right? Because of how we dress, how we put things together. And it's been amazing to me. And I want to shout out all my brothers of the Silver Fox Squad. Shout out to the Silver Fox Squad on this morning. Man, I'm taken aback by how people have been receptive to us. I'm 52, Mark, and the youngest guy is 42. So from 42 to 60, we've cornered this market, and people are paying attention. And it's all about this conversation we're having today. Is how we look, right?
Mike, can I ask a question? For people who don't know, what is exactly the Silver Fox Club and what is you guys' mission? Because I've been hearing about it, but I don't know exactly what it is. Could you explain to the viewers that?
Yeah, absolutely, Boosie. Thank you so much for asking. So we are officially, the name is the Silver Fox Squad, LLC. Okay. So we're actually a formal organization. We're a group of men who are pretty much 40 up to about 60. And what our goal and mission is to do is to help and encourage men in our age bracket to embrace who they are. So even with the balding, even with the gray hair, the white hair, all that kind of stuff, embrace who you are, right? And at the same time, let's help redefine the image of what it looks like to be in our age group. So you don't have to have a dad bod. You don't have to be out of shape. Mentally, physically, spiritually, we want to hit on all three levels. And on top of that, we want to be a mentor to other men in our age group, our peers. And then we also want to mentor younger men as well, to help them understand there's a better way. And wearing your pants, your trousers off of your butt, or below your hips, or whatever the case is really not that great an idea. It's not professional whatsoever. If that's your thing, that's cool. But if you want to be a little bit more professional, if you want to go a few more places, if you want more opportunities presented to you outside of the rap world and some other entertainment spaces, you're going to need to probably change your image to look a lot better. And in doing all that, it will hopefully help boost your self-esteem. Absolutely. And your courage to go out and do some things you may not have done before or even consider doing before. I can tell you, man, being 52, Mark, every day I wake up and I think about the fact that I'm a member of this group. I'm always blown away by the fact that people have embraced us in this way, right? I mean, it's been like a phenomenon, man. It's amazing. And I'm blessed. Let me say this. All of us are blessed to be a part of this group, but to just be recognized and noticed for how you look, man, that's a blessing. That's crazy to me. So that's what we stand for. That's who we are. And that's what we want to do. That's our mission in life, is to really kind of give back and to teach men, encourage men, especially Mark, men like yourself. Brother, you still look good. It's no gimmicks. It's no tricks. When you get to this age and this stage, we just fine already, right? It just comes with the territory. You just now have to embrace it, bro. Keep all the gray. Keep all the silver. Keep all the white. I talk to men all the time, and they got the Beijing thing, and I say, look, man, let the Beijing go. It's costing you a lot of money anyway.
Man, let that Beijing go, bro.
Well, and Bootsy, let me say this one thing, Mark. And then Bootsy, check this out. Who you think you fooling with the Beijing?
Well, let me say this now. Let me say this now in honor of Beijing. I didn't use Beijing, but I will say this, and it's funny. I'm curious to see how the journey happened. So when I hopped on TV at 55, I colored my beard, my goatee, only because it almost was in a sense a starting point. Yeah. And I wanted the starting point because who knows what the journey, could have just been that was going to just be me on TV for a couple months, but it could turn into a bigger opportunity, right? And so now that I'm looking at some bigger opportunities, what happened? The difference is, let's say blank company, hires me. I do a 3 or 5 year contract or whatever. And now I'm in the door. Now I could come in and be me, I could be myself, because how it is. If it's almost like that first opportunity was almost really a demo tape. And it allowed me to have a demo tape. And so if there's some hosting opportunities that they need, let's say they need a guy 40 years old or 45, I can fit into that, almost like an acting thing. So for me, that's what it was. And so, but you're absolutely right. The thing I like about this, Michael, because I know, is Odell officially in your group? Odell from Baltimore?
Odell was, man. So let me tell you, Odell is a very good friend of mine. We go back a long time. In fact, I talked to Odell about you because I was like, hey, Odell, this guy, Mark hit me up, man. Is it the same guy I'm thinking about? He was like, yeah, that's him. I said, oh, okay, cool. Just want to make sure.
And so, like you said, what I love about you guys, Michael, Odell, you guys happen to be great looking guys and happen to be a certain age, but you're also about something. I've known Odell with Walter Scott since he was probably in his early 30s, late 20s probably. And you guys are more than just a pretty face. And I think that's the message that you guys are putting out there. But also, like you said, Black men, first of all, what you really realize when you look around, think about it. Steve Harvey probably, we talk about on a big stage, Black men who are mature in suits, there's very few of us on the big stage, and that's the funny thing about a Steve Harvey. I think, to be honest, Steve Harvey hosting that game show brought him into many general market households that really have never experienced big Black guys in suits. They had mature Black men. They're scared of us, and even now I think that people are, the average white person really, a hip hop guy, as Kevin is saying, in casual sweatsuits or whatever, almost like a sports guy or a juvenile, rapper. They know that image, but they don't really deal with a whole bunch of grown ass men in suits. I think there's a lot of intimidation there. I think in corporate America, to be honest, they're not really that comfortable with guys, especially because we're known to be, I think there's intimidation. So like you said, Michael, I think at the end of the day, this movement has been powerful because I think women seeing attractive brothers at a certain age group is great. I think it's great for everybody involved, young people, like looking at it and saying, oh, he ain't corny. He's this, they're that. And I think the end of the day, you guys, but the thing you guys have is, here you are, you look good in your clothes, but you own your own company. You have your own custom clothier. You have, conversations on how to tie a tie, how to dress. We can talk to Michael about where's this going. I mean, these damn tapered pants. Now, in my opinion, if you got junk in the trunk and you got a tapered pants going on, we need to, Michael, they need to see you to get it right. And high waters, we got to talk. I mean, it ain't for everybody. Just like
it's not.
The joke, men make jokes about women and what clothes ain't for everybody. Well, guys, some of these styles aren't for you.
Yeah, and that's the reason why, sometimes you probably want to go see someone to help you with your fashion, because sometimes we need somebody else to help and judge us. So for me personally, my wife, man, is a good measuring stick. She'll tell me in a minute if she doesn't like something. Now, we don't always agree on it. Sometimes I'll still do it anyway, but she's a great measuring stick for me to say, hey, Mike, I don't think, this is going to work. Being in the Silver Fox squad, I can tell you right now, those guys, they will tell you in a minute it doesn't work. Right. Wow. So we're all very competitive, A-type alpha males who, we're all kind of across the same board. So we can see one another. And when we talk to one another, we say, hey, man, that's kind of, or man, you hit it. Let's do more of that. And then eventually what happens just for us is that you will see this common thread amongst us, because what happens, we're learning from each other. And what we're doing is we're kind of emulating other people in the group and taking on this kind of persona. So, all of those things matter, but you got to be careful sometimes because, just because it's a trend, it may not be good for you. And I always tell my clients, stay away from the trendy stuff anyway. try to stay classic. If you stay, so my theme is this, Mark and Bootsy, is to stay classic, right?
Wow.
And to add a pop of color to it. So everything you see me wearing, I take inspiration from the 40s, if you look at everything I'm wearing, excuse me, it'll be something you can pinpoint back to 1940, 1930, 1950. But I have, excuse me, my throat, but I have a pop of color to it. And I did that intentionally because I'm trying to do something that a lot of those guys didn't do then, was to draw your attention. So I've learned how to draw the attention of folks through using color. But all of my suits, it's nothing I do that doesn't go back to and paying homage to those gentlemen. Mark, let me ask you a question. Your grandfather, when you used to see your grandfather, I remember, man, my grandfather would go to the store with a suit on. If he was going to be traveling on the bus, he would have a suit on. I mean, fully dressed. I mean, to the T. You're like, man, where are you going? I'm just going to get some cigarettes. But he looks like he's going to, for a job interview or something like that. All of those things have always stayed on my mind, and it's always been or made a huge impression upon who I am today. And when I teach and when I try to give back and mentor, I try to pass on those same principles to other men and other young men as well.
Mike, I would. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Boots.
Mike, I would. So first of all, let me just say this. This has really been inspirational to hear your conversation, but it's also given me a whole different perspective and outlook on the presentation of it, which as a teacher, I feel like sometimes that's not emphasized. I would love to know, when did this journey start? Because now that I'm hearing you talk, it has such a historical context to it or whatever. Could you just elaborate what put you on this path, what sparked you, and how did you come to this point? And then my second question would be, where do you see Black men's place in fashion in 2022, but moving forward? I know it's two questions there, but I would love to know first, how did you get on this journey? What was the key to switch on to know this was important and that you will be able to convey this to other people?
Great question. So
thank you so much, Mike, because I've been feeling ignored here for a while, but I'm good. I'm in the mix now. Okay.
No, you in the mix, Bootsy. You in the mix. So that's a great question, seriously. So just a little bit about myself, right? I'm an IT professional as well. So I owned an IT company for 20 years. Wow. And here's the thing, man. I want to tell people this. This is something I really want to get across to people on this interview today. I was in IT, but I didn't like IT. I have loved fashion my entire life, but no one guided me to what I really liked and where my core strengths were. The focus usually for Black kids is go into a profession that's going to make you a lot of money, right? But what I've learned over time, in a real short, to make this real quick and sweet, what I've learned over time is this: when you do something you love, eventually you're going to make the money. It's going to happen. It's no doubt in my mind it's going to happen. So after a 20-year stint, I was on my last contract, very great contract. I was blessed, Mark and Bootsy. I had some great contracts. And what happened was I got to the last contract and I would have to drive from Upper Marlboro, Mark, Bootsy, to Bethesda. And I hated driving to Bethesda because that traffic is just too much.
Montgomery County traffic, navigating 295. Ooh.
Bro, it's horrible, right? So my wife told me, she said, and at the same time, I owned my clothing store for about 12 of those 20 years. So my wife said, Michael, why don't you just let IT go? The girls are pretty much through college now. We can do it. It doesn't take everything, what we're doing. Why don't you focus on that? And I said, you sure? I mean, that's a lot to give up if we do that. She said, listen, I know how you love doing this clothing thing. Just focus on that. If you focus on that, we're going to be successful.
God bless her. God bless her, bro.
This is the honest to God's truth. In 2 years, in 2 years after leaving, 3 years actually, after leaving IT, pretty much right back where I was, right? Because I love doing what I do. I don't do it for the money. Man. I do it because I love doing this. I love doing it because I like to see smiles on people's faces when their whole ensemble changes their whole outlook about who they are and who they see themselves becoming, right? So Bootsy, to get back to your question, it started as a child, man, seeing my dad, dress up and do all these different things and how he did them. Man, I can tell you to this day, man, my dad is a very popular dude in DC. He's very, hold
on, Mike, let me ask you a question, because I could, as a DC native, go-go band guy, all that, what area did you grow up in? Because I could be able to tell her that right now. Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up and thank you for saying I grew up at 3092 Stanton Road, Southeast Washington, D.C.
It says no more Ward 8, the Great Ward 8, Southside, Kenilworth, and now
Yes,
it makes
sir.
sense. Because be clear, around that area, the Kenilworth, they always had their own style of dressing. They were really focused on their beards and much. Now it makes sense, Mike.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
bro.
my dad, so my family is from DC, from Southeast DC, like I said, born and raised. But my dad, man, was a huge influence in my life in terms of that. But I used to watch Ricky Ricardo and Lucille Ball, right?
Wow.
Did y'all ever watch that show?
Oh
I
yeah.
Love Lucy. Come on now.
Let me
Let's
tell you
not have
something.
it seen.
Let me tell you something. Ricky Ricardo, to me, is the best dressed man I've ever seen on TV, any place.
Wow.
So a lot of my inspiration is drawn from Ricky Ricardo. Like everything I try to emulate is from that guy, man. This guy, if you go back to Ricky Ricardo and you just look at how he dressed, this dude was the ultimate gentleman. He was the ultimate dresser, man. This guy was absolutely freaking amazing. He was a monster in terms of dress. And I don't think he oftentimes gets the acknowledgement that he should by Hollywood for how well he dressed. And I think it's because he was Hispanic, right?
Wow.
While Lucille Ball got a lot of attention, he didn't. And so I drew a lot of attention from that. And so I grew up always knowing that's how I want to look. When I get money in my pocket, when I can afford to dress the way I want to dress, when I can afford to buy custom clothing, when I can afford to design, you know, all these different things, that's how I want to look, right? And so growing up, I didn't always have the money. My parents didn't always have the money to do that. And so I think it was probably around age 30 or so, I got into the business. And man, once I got into the business, everything as a child just started coming back to my remembrance. And I always tell people, I may be short on money, but I'm never short on ideas. I have a sketchbook, man, that's unbelievable. I got ideas for days, man. I mean,
how old were you? How old were you when you first started making these sketches? Because now that you're talking about how far back going to TV to Lucy Ricardo, what age did you first sit down and just create a sketch?
So here's what's funny about that. And I'll give you one more tidbit about myself. I'm actually an ordained reverend as well at Allen Chapel AME Church in Southeast.
I could tell because everything about you is spiritual vibes coming. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So what happens is when I was ordained, I was talking to my pastor. I said, hey, look, I would love to make my own robe because I don't really care for the MLK robes everybody else is wearing. So you say, hey, Mike, go ahead and make your own robe. So I came to church. I'll never forget it. It was on Easter Sunday, my first time in a robe as an ordained deacon in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, right? My pastor looks at me and says, where did you get that? I said, I told you I was going to make it. He said, wait, you made that? I said, yeah. He literally said to me, make me too. So what happened was I couldn't always express to my seamstress how I wanted something done. And this is how good God is. I had to start actually putting pen to paper to show her all the details because I'm a very detail-oriented person. And so at probably about age like 36, I really went on YouTube. I just started studying how to sketch, right? And then, man, I promise you, I have no formal experience in sketching. I can show you my sketches. Man, I just had to get it, and I just stuck with it, and it just became a thing to be able to do because I needed to be able to do it to express my creativity and express to my seamstress, don't do it like this, do it like this.
That's
where it came from, man.
What's so funny, Bootsy, is, and Bootsy always comments on these shows, we just happen upon so much great information.
We say this all the time.
All the time, because here come to find out, Bootsy, this brother's a genius. So the funny part about it
but also, Mark, it's going to show you how many young Black people have all these ideas, but don't always have the outlet to let it loose and express it, man.
And it speaks to, so here's the thing that's so funny, right? So you see Michael Johnson, right? I see the brother. So okay, good looking guy. So you instantly project on who this guy is, like Michael said, and people do with the foxes, silver foxes. You probably go, yeah, good looking guy, probably light on substance. He been a pretty boy his whole life. He's probably a model. You know what I mean? You just like people did, when I was even heavier, even now, people, when I saw me with Allison, they'd be like, what in the hell is she doing with him? Oh, he's probably a comedian. People, we just see people and we just project onto them.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael, the funny part is, again, what me and Bootsy are saying, and we really discovering is that there's so many layers to people. And like you said, Bootsy, sadly, so many people, you have some people who don't have the exposure and don't know how to get to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Also, though, what's almost just as sad, Michael, is that guy who is just like you, who worked for Social Security and lives a okay life, but he never had the blessing of a wife that encouraged him. He never had the courage to just to get on YouTube and say, I'm going to do something. He had those same desires, but he just never, ever explored them. And as that saying goes, when you look in the graveyard, all those people who basically never had a chance to live their life or never chose to, they had a thought. They had the thought. God gave them the thought. God was standing there giving it to him. Every day at work, he's gnawing at you. That thought is, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But they never had the courage to go out there and try it.
Yeah, because there's so many layers to this man's story. The fact that you had a successful IT company, but your wife empowered you to do that. Like I really wish, as a person who teach college students and all that, I tell them, be careful who you choose, because that will dictate where you're going. To have, like there's so many layers. Your story is just amazing. But I would love to know, as an African-American man who has now found this passion in 2022, where do you see the future of African-Americans in this fashion industry? And would you have any advice of any person who could be in your same situation in their 30s or 40s, who've had this burning desire to do it? What advice would you give them? But I want to know first, where is the future in your assessment of Black men in the fashion industry, and what advice would you give?
So great questions again, Boosie.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you, man.
So let me just do this as well. I'm a blessed man, because my wife definitely is. Let me tell you, so I could go on and on and on about this woman. She definitely was one of the key things that helped me get to where I want to get. But I also want to talk about my dad, because this is something, man, that as parents, we have to make sure that we do with our children. We have to encourage and deposit in them, right? And speak well over them and encourage them to sometimes do what we didn't do. Go where we didn't go. Don't be afraid to go into areas that we were afraid of, and not project our
insecurities, our insecurities
on them, right? So let me tell you this real quick, and I'm gonna answer that question. My dad, man, used to try. I used to take Mark and Boosie. I used to travel to all these different shows to sell clothes, and my dad, man, went with me on the road for 10 years. And my dad is retired, so me and my dad have spent a lot of time together. We would be together for sometimes weeks at a time. So it was one year my dad said, Michael, you need to get off the road and get a shop. And I said, man, what are you talking about? He's like, you need to get a shop. Like, you need a physical shop. And I said, man, you know how much it costs? He's like, why don't you just start looking? So one day I just started looking. I found this dump. I mean, a complete dump. And I fell in love with this place. And I took my dad, I called him and said, man, listen, I need you to meet me at this dress. I want you to see something. We go into the place. We start looking around. My dad says, well, Mike, what do you see? Man, I walk around in a 360 and start pointing at things and saying, I see this over here. I see this over there. I see this. My dad is looking like, Mike, this is a dump. I said, I know it's a dump now, but this is what I see. You're asking me what I see. This is what I see. My dad literally takes out his checkbook and writes me a check and says, son, make it happen.
You about to make me cry on here, man. You about to,
man. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. So now, going fast forward, I said all to say, as parents, this is how we need to deposit our children. And my dad has never asked me for anything except for his discount, which is basically whatever he wants.
He earned it. And he earned it.
And he earned it. And he's earned it. So in 2022, I see Black men taking over. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a newfound passion about how we look, right? And how we want to project. And I see it all the time. I get people coming up to me on the street, and all the Foxes, I'm sure they all get this as well. All of us do, because we talk about it. But people walking up to us saying how much we encourage them. I see, man, my clients have literally stopped with dyeing their hair on their face, and their beards and their hair. They stopped doing it. They cut the Beijing. They've actually, Mark, they've cut back the bigger suits, because I was like, people don't understand when you wear clothes that are too big, it doesn't flatter you. We can't see what you look like, right? But when you wear clothes that fit you, not clothes that are too small, not clothes that are too tight, not clothes that are too skinny, but clothes that fit you, we can see what you look like, right? And people are interested in seeing that. And so a lot of men have now said, look, I'm ready and I'm willing to invest in myself. And you can see, and Mark, you said this, there's a resurgence now. Black men are now starting to dress up. Well, I promise you, and since COVID has, it's not ended, but since we kind of got to this place, man, I'm seeing a spike in business because men have to go back to work. And they're saying, Mike, I'm not going back the way that I did, right? And I understand the power of how you look. It makes you feel good. When you're dressed up, it's something to me. When you're dressed up, you put on a suit, a shirt, and a tie, and you go outside, man, let me tell you something. It transforms everything. I turn into a whole other person. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Well,
I mean, literally.
Well, the funny part that I did, I made myself, not made myself, but after the TV experience, you know, on the television, 10 o'clock in the morning, getting ready for the day. And like you said, Mike, I found that moment, you know, I'm putting on the makeup and like getting ready for it, you know, getting my pocket square right, wiping off my glasses. There was a certain, you're right, there was a certain calm or feeling that I really did enjoy. And so even though I'm in my basement, and I thought about this the other day, a lot of people, when they do the virtual, they just put the clothes on. Man, I actually take a shower, I shave, yeah. I actually put on a whole outfit, and then sometimes right after I'm done, I take it off. And I know, you know, my wife hasn't said anything, but she cracks on me, but it's just almost like a mentality. It's a
right.
mentality.
Yeah, preparing yourself, and you're also preparing yourself, Mark.
Preparing yourself, right?
Yeah,
and it's true. It's true, Mike. And what you said is so funny because even with this jacket, so on television, you know, again, so this would be Mike if I knew you back then. My friend, one of my comedian friends, he was like, "Hey, Mark, you're doing a great job. Hey, man, I know a tailor," because he was seeing what you're seeing, like, you know, not the quite not shoulder a little bit too wide, arm too short. Because basically, I'm faking it. I'm faking it until I make it. But it's just so funny, those little nuance things. And there's a certain, like you said, there's a certain thing that comes with it. And like you said, embracing. You asked about my grandfather earlier, Michael. And my grandfather died when I was 3. But one image that I always have was he had his own business. He was a printer. And so he had the white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, and like you say, the dress pants, and he was a pipe smoker. And I now get it. It's like from eyewear to a pipe to whatever. Even though I was 3 years old, I can still smell my grandfather. And those images, like you say, probably what happened was a combination of seeing the pictures and just remembering the smell of the house, you know, because I grew up in a house that we took care of him. And all these things, I guess, Mike, as we get older, you start to understand that all these things are what make our lives. Right. And clothing is a big part of it. Eyewear, my father-in-law, who was a caregiver, my father-in-law was just a great-looking guy. He was a minister, so his ring, his rhinestone pinky ring, his necklace, these things become pieces of him that I just will always remember. His cufflinks. And so Kevin has been ranting on this whole like focus on sportswear and, you know, how everybody, you know, grown men wearing kids' clothes in a sense. Correct. Not that there's anything wrong with it because they're comfortable and they look great. But Kevin's point is that it kind of makes you juvenile and not a man. That's a whole other conversation we have to bring it back for, Michael. Yeah. But there is something to that. Now, but our time's running short. So, Michael, I wanted people to see your amazing stuff, and you commented since you're here with us. So we already saw the shoe. That red shoe ain't no joke. I mean, the red shoe is no joke. Pow, right?
My eyes still hurting.
But wait a minute, Bootsy. This ain't no joke either. The black ain't no joke. And then I'm gonna go through, and then we'll come back, Michael. Then we got
Black Panther there.
In this custom suit with the custom vest, love the colors. Now, a lot of men look great in dress clothes, but they don't look great in casual. Michael got something for that. Pow! We got to talk about those hats. Here are the boxes right here all together. This suit right here, I'm going to get this one for my next TV gig. Pal, you ain't ready for it, Bootsy. You ain't ready for it.
Get your money right, hey Mark, because that look real expensive.
Oh, you ain't. You're right. I gotta get my money right. And then, of course, the beautiful hat. So we ran through it, Michael. Tell us about your philosophy, what we saw, and also how people can order.
So let's do this. So thank you so much again, Mark. I really appreciate you guys. So what you saw was, and here's my philosophy all the way around. I don't believe you should just dress well in one area. It should be every single area. I don't care if you're dressed down. I don't care if you're dressed up. It all matters, man. You don't know who you're going to meet. So just to that picture that you showed, Mark, the one we had on the red coat with the red sweater, I got so many compliments. I got so many comments. Man, I've sold the coat a couple times because it's like everything you see me wearing in that picture is for the most part custom, except for the hat and boots. Everything else for the most part is custom. So we do custom jeans as well. So JL Michaels Custom Clothers, which is my company, we do everything for men, head to toe. It'd be a hat, coat, suit, shirts, ties, bow ties, socks, everything. We outfit you from head to toe. We offer image consultants, stylist services. We also do alterations, full service professional alterations. We do all these things to get you together. And for those of you who are trying to figure it out but can't figure it out, there is help. Some things you have to go get help for. And some men, this is what I want to say to men and women who are watching this, sometimes you have to invest. And it costs, right? You can't get a Cadillac or you can't buy a Mercedes at a Honda dealership for Honda money. It's impossible. Sometimes you have to step up. Depending on what you want to do, what you're trying to achieve, you have to do it, right? And so we're here to help you do all those different things. And again, back to what you showed, Mark, you just showed probably 3 different areas of how I approach life and how I approach dressing. But you can see it's consistent. So I start at the top, I work my way down. So from my hair, I get haircuts, I stay groomed, the beard, you can see how, pretty much my suits are all tailored. And guess what? Mark, you said this, you don't necessarily have to get a custom made suit, but get it tailored. Get your shirts tailored. If they're too big, if they're too small, go see someone. Come see me. Why don't you? www.jlmichaels.com. Come see me. And we'll help you get all of these things in order. This is for men or for women, it doesn't matter. But most importantly, what I want to do through clothing, right, is to help inspire you to become the best version of you. And I know for a fact, man, when I see people dressed up and I see how with the before and the after, I tell people, Mark and Bootsy, again, as I started saying this, I don't do this because people pay me to do it. I do it because I love it and people pay me for it because I've gotten good at it. And that's the difference, right? I love what I do. So I'm not interested in just making money. I'm more interested in you. I'm interested in how you look. I'm interested in how you feel because it makes a difference to me. I know that you're going to be wearing my label on your back. And based upon how you feel, man, I don't have to be present with you for my business to be acknowledged because you are and you will tell people about my business just based on what I've done for you and the experience you've had. I'm trying to create experiences through this whole journey. It's not, again, about the clothes because, man, I can help you put on anything, but it's how you feel after we've had this great experience, and then getting the clothes on top of it is just a cherry on top. I love what I do. I genuinely do.
So, Michael, I'm going to say a couple names. And I want you to, fashion-wise, tell me what comes to mind. Kanye West.
Difficult. Complex. Non-traditional, out of this world, out of the box.
Is that good? Do you mean that in a good way? Out of this world, non-traditional?
Bootsy, no, Bootsy, don't go into the depth. We don't want to do okay. Then we come back.
Okay.
Carl Kanai.
Dated a little bit. During his time was on top of it. Great ideas, great fashion sense.
Ralph Lauren.
The epitome. I mean, the absolute epitome of style, of elegance, of class, of sophistication, of all of it. He is, and I meant to mention this as a designer, that is my favorite designer. If you look at, again, what I'm wearing, he actually goes back to that time period that we talked about. And that's where I also draw a lot of my inspiration from as well. Absolutely amazing man.
Cary Grant.
Woo! One of the best actors, one of the best dressers there have ever been on the planet Earth, period.
Wow.
Par excellence.
Duke Ellington.
Oh,
DC's own.
One of the coldest black men you ever seen in a suit, shirt, tie, and hat. Period.
DC's own.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Bootsy,
Absolutely.
Bootsy, go ahead if you wanted to go further. I just wanted to throw those names out there. Do you have a question?
No, it was great. I'm loving his assessment. I'm loving the lens that he's making me look through it through fashion. So no, this is great, and I've learned so much. So no, I don't.
And so, Michael, we're gonna wrap things up. But again, you are family. Anytime you need to come on,
thank you, man.
Coming on. I'm gonna hit you up.
Man, again, I'm going to hit you up too.
Can I get my information, by the way? Is it okay to get my information?
Of course,
absolutely.
Please do.
Yeah, so my phone number, if people want to reach me, you can actually reach me in my office, 240-398-6524. We are located in the DMV. I'm situated right here in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. My address is 14412 Old Mill Road, Suite 201. And again, that's in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. You can find me online at a couple of places on Facebook at Michael L. Johnson Jr. You can also find me at JL Michaels Custom Clothiers on Facebook. On Instagram, you can find me at JL_Michaels_LLC. And I also have a lifestyle channel or a lifestyle page on Instagram. It is I am he Mr. Johnson, all underscores. I_am he _Mr. Johnson. That's my lifestyle page. And I use that to actually do some of what we're talking about right now on Instagram. And then I'm also on TikTok at Michael L. Johnson Jr.
Get him, Mike. All bases are covered. All bases are covered.
And let me just say this one more thing. So if anybody's interested in having me host things, come out and do whatever. I'm interested in red carpet. Mark, I'm very interested in television. I'm interested in radio. I love radio. I love doing radio. But I'm also interested in television. So if anybody needs, wants me to come out and do some of these things on television for some of these, these spots or whatever, I'm always interested in doing that with you guys.
So Michael, we're gonna come out. We're gonna do a makeover for Bootsy. We're gonna do, I need to get some TV gear ready because some things are popping.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then also, Michael, I'm gonna bring my stuff that needs, some of my stuff that needs to be taken in a little bit, but whatever. But man, again, Michael, we'll talk about you. You're obviously a TV star, a radio star, and the world waiting to be seen and experienced. Let me just say this.
Thank you. Let me say this, man. Thank you. You are amazing. Everything about you was amazing. Man. This whole presentation was amazing. As a DC native, but as a black man who was trying to develop young black men, the presentation and the way you articulated this was amazing. You have a real gift at this, bro. You have a real gift. Whatever it is you're supposed to be doing, keep doing it, because the way you explain this, the way you articulate it, you made it make sense for a lot of people through all demographics. You are absolutely amazing. And if possible, I would love to connect with you because I have broadcast journalism students who need to hear your voice ASAP.
Let me say this real quick, man. Listen. I want to make this very clear. If it had not been for God, the Lord, I promise you, I would not be sitting here. I am a young man. I'm a product. I want people to know this too. I'm a product of Washington, D.C., of Southeast Washington, D.C. People said Southeast is the guttermost. I am a product of Washington, D.C., the Washington, D.C. school system. I am a living witness that you can make it. With God on your side, all things are possible. I promise you it is. And it is my goal to inspire, to encourage, and to make sure people know, man. And just so I'm gonna wrap this up in a bow for you. All of what I do and all of what I said is my ministry. God has given me this as a ministry to work through so that people, sometimes people won't be drawn to you or they'll be drawn to you for multiple reasons. And I realize God has given me this gift to be able to draw people, to draw them to him. So this is what I do, man. That's why I love what I do so much, because I get a chance to work with people and to lift up his name and let people know how good he is. Because Mark, you said this, people looking at me might make a judgment, but when you hear me and get to know me, you'll find something completely different about me. And I just want to make sure that people know how good he is, man, because I promise you, I grew up in the 80s in DC. And y'all know what the 80s was like in DC.
Wow. Yes.
I didn't think I was going to make it. I, honest to God, didn't think I was going to make it because of everything that's going on. But when I look back over my life and I see all those things and where I started because it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And I look at where I'm at today, man. Listen, Mark and Boosie, I could be on here all day with y'all talking about this, man.
Well, Mike, look, I got, Mike, we have not done this before, Bootsy, but I got to make it happen. Michael, you got to give us a little word now. I know some people on this day, for whatever reason, feel like they're in the valley. They feel like they're not making any headroom. They're fighting.
I do.
They feel like they're drowning. They know that God got them, but they need a little encouragement to help them understand that in those moments, right when you feel like you can't go on, it's right then that the blessing is coming. Michael, as we wrap things up, give us a nice little prayer for those people as we head into the weekend to get over that hump for us, Michael, while we wrap things up.
Absolutely. Let me say this to you all, who's ever watching this broadcast under the sound of our voice. If God did it before, I promise you he can do it again. But not only will he do it again, he will do it better than he did it the first time. Dear God, in the name of Jesus, Father, thank you for this day, God. Thank you for this hour, God. Thank you for this opportunity, God. Thank you for the connection, God. Thank you for allowing another way for your voice to be heard, God, over these airways. On today, God, we want to come, first of all, lifting you up, giving your name all the honor, glory, and praise. At the end of the day, God, it is you. This is how we make it. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even be here. And God, I asked on today that you would touch, God, that you would heal, that you would touch, set free, deliver, cure, God, people in the name of Jesus. There are some folks walking around right now who don't feel like they're worthy, God. Touch them. Remind them you created them. You made them something special, God. It is only one of them. They are unique and they are loved by you, even though they may not be loved by anyone else, God. They are loved by you, God. God, I ask you to say there are some people walking around like they just don't matter, God. And please remind them, God, that they matter to you. God, I ask you to move in a multitude of ways. You know every single thing we need, God. Every single thing we got. You know every single concern, God. You know where we hurt. God, you know we're doing well. You know we're not doing so well. God, touch us at every single area in our lives, God. And I pray on today that you would touch this ministry, God, because I'm formally calling the ministry, God, that Mark and Boosie have, God. Use them, God, like they've never been used before, God. Bless them with creativity they didn't even know they had, oh God. God, touch people who did not otherwise hear of this show and bring them to them, God, so that they might hear your message, God, through them and whatever it is they do. And God, now we come to you just saying thank you again because you are that good always and forever, God. It's in your precious name, God, that I lift these prayers up to you. It's in Jesus' name, Lord, we seal it. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Michael, you're the first, brother. Have a blessed day, everybody. If you're watching it live, please subscribe. If you're watching it another time, subscribe and follow. Follow my brother right there, Michael Johnson, J.L. Michaels. Go check him out. He's amazing. Of course, Bootsy Vegas. We'll see y'all tomorrow with a show. Take care now.